Ms. Roberts, you can begin.
My name is Eileen Roberts. I live on Manchester Lane in Stony Brook, and I'm representing Stony Brook Concerned Homeowners. I'm directing this particularly to Ms. Cartwright. I know you've all heard this before, but we're not going away, and I'm going to kind of give you a little brief chronology of how the boarding houses are born in our neighborhood. As I cleaned up the debris in front of a house on Memory Way, a house that's currently empty, it was a beautifully maintained family home with a professional office. It went up for sale. It's on the corner of Stony Brook Road and Memory Way. Neighbors like myself weren't too optimistic that it was going to be sold to a family because of the staggering number of homes on Stony Brook Road in the near vicinity that have already become college boarding houses. Memory Way, a once lovely street, is the entrance to my neighborhood. Here's a description of the house when it was listed by real estate. Great location, great possibilities, 5 bedrooms, possible additional room in the attic, master bedroom on the first floor, close to SUNY Hospital and University, taxes $16,659. The house sold in February of 2014, and on April 7th, 2014, the home was listed with a real estate with a $5,500 a month rental fee. But oddly, the house is now a 9-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms. Here's a description of the property: 9 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, absolutely huge house for rent. Ideal for professionals and students. Classy house with many qualities, making it truly one of a kind. Classy house, walk to university and hospital, brokered by. Thankfully, the local residents noticed the listing on the internet and called the real estate, questioning the 9 bedrooms. The real estate pulled the house from the market the next day and claimed it was a typographical error. The house was not listed again. By the way, there's no rental permit for this home. The fence on this once lovely property is now half up and half down since April. Broken pieces lie on the front lawn in a state of utter disrepair. The fence was partially removed when there was work done on the in-ground pool. The work came to a halt when someone in the community called the town because the pool was being illegally backfilled. The town issued a stop work order on April 17th, and then the pool had to be removed. The house is now empty, but not for long. My question to the town is this: what will be our recourse when the property owner of that house on Memory Way is able to fill those 9 bedrooms in this classy house with enough college students to afford that $5,500 a month rent? It seems that this was the intent, the way the house was marketed. We know that there are town codes in place. We know that there are no more than 4 unrelated tenants. However, the town has not been able to enforce the codes in houses we've already identified as having large number of students that have broken the code. What is the town going to do for us?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but your time has
Thank you.
ended.
Donna. I think as the concerned Stony Brook homeowners know, the Department of Law has enforced the code. The code reads, and I've explained this in emails and telephone conversations with some of your leaders, that there cannot, and this is not our law, this is the law of the state of New York. There are 4 or more unrelated persons not living as a family. So if they're living as a family, and we've tweaked, again, tonight we're going to tweak the code again, and we continue to make code amendments to try to enforce this law. But to say that we haven't enforced the law is not fair. And to answer your question, if that house gets rented, you call the town attorney's office, and you know we've responded to every complaint. And we've shut many of these houses down. I know we move them from one place to the other, but we're not giving up. And as you know, many of you attended district court, and we had a $28,000 fine against one of these landlords. And all the landlords out there should know that we're going to pursue this. The supervisor in this town board has directed resources toward this, and we're going to pursue every one of them. Can we make it go away? No, we're not going to give you that false hope. But we can chase them out when they're doing things illegally, and we intend to do that, and that's what I've been directed to do by this town board and by the supervisor.
Our next 4 speakers, Alan Steinberg. Ann Sater. Marsha Linda Migliorisi. Kevin McAllister. So, Mr. Steinberg, you're going to begin. You're going to be called in the order, you'll speak in the order that you were called up. Just state your name and the hamlet you're from when you begin, and the clock is right in front of you.
All right.
Okay.
My name is Alan Steinberg. I'm from Manchester Lane in Stony Brook.
Could you pull the mic closer?
My name is Alan Steinberg, and I live in Manchester Lane in Stony Brook, New York. I'm a co-member of the Concerned Homeowners Association. We have 1,300 members and going strong. My background is in computer sciences and systems design and construction technologies, and I also hold a real estate broker's license. I wish to volunteer my own services, as well as that of other members of our organization, to work with the board and legal department to help implement the following suggestions. Our organization would like to strongly recommend that Section 85 of the Brookhaven Township Code be modified to include holding both real estate agents and their brokers monetarily liable for illegal rental listings where there is no current active rental permit included. This includes both online and printed listings. We'd also like to ask that Brookhaven Township provide a secure, read-only, online updated file of all active rental permits within the Brookhaven Township to the MLS Stratus system. We will then ask MLS Stratus to deny publishing any rental listings within the Brookhaven Township that does not have a valid rental registration. We will also be asking LIBOR, Long Island Board of Realtors, and the New York State Department of State to notify all real estate brokers and agents within New York City and Long Island that a valid rental permit is required for all rentals within the Brookhaven Township, including both online and printed listings. Failure to adhere to these restrictions may involve suspension or revoking their licenses. If they can't get it out there, they can't rent it. If they can't rent it, their business model fails. If their business model fails, we get our family neighborhoods back. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Sater, you can...
Before you start, could we get a copy of that? Sure. And by the way, the largest violator of our rental permits we can't take action against. It is the County of Suffolk and the Department of Social Services. They do not file rental permits. They violate our town laws all the time. You should know that. Thank you.
Ms. Sater, you can begin.
Good afternoon. Ann Cedar, Stony Brook. 3 minutes is a very short time to describe what many residents of the Stony Brook area are facing. We are a single-family residential neighborhood and not a college boarding town. We intend on staying a single-family residential neighborhood and not becoming a college boarding town. Each one of you sitting before me has been elected by each one of us, the citizens of Brookhaven, to govern this town. We are now asking for your continued effort to keep Stony Brook a single-family residential neighborhood and not a college boarding town. What are our concerns as single-family residential neighbors? Well, this used to be, what recyclable is it this week? Paper or cans? When is the street sweeper coming to clean up the sand and the crumbling asphalt from the side of the roads? How about the speeding cars through our streets? Let's just add more stop signs. Now, what do we as residents of single-family homes discuss? Our rights as homeowners being ignored by investors of properties that have disregarded town codes. Really, town codes? Yes, town codes that cannot be enforced. College rentals, group homes, student houses, call it or code it whatever, but make it enforceable. We now have, quote, residents riding bicycles, and not to the park or local elementary schools. We have residents parking cars on the front lawns and lining both sides of the streets. Residents walking across lawns and streets at all hours of the day and night. And be reminded that there are no sidewalks in this single-family residential neighborhood. Garbage is left at curbside in plastic store bags being torn apart by seagulls. This is littering our single-family residential neighborhood. So I ask each one of you to consider changing the codes so that they may be enforced not only by the town inspectors, but in the court of law. The recent court case involving 150 Christian Avenue was a start, but the investor was not held accountable for the code violations. This is appalling when residents are fined for not complying with minor code violations such as unregistered cars, boats, etc., garbage in front of properties and missing COs for decks, and numerous other minor code violations that they pled guilty, fined, and expected to pay upon leaving the courthouse. Has the town collected the fine from 150 Christian Avenue? The law-abiding residents are angry, frustrated, and just plain disgusted with the lack of better words, the enforceability of town codes. Make the changes necessary to keep Stony Brook and the surrounding areas as a single-family residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Ms. Migliosi, you can begin.
We have to give
I just want to respond that the courts collect the fine, not the town. And the judge determines where a legislative executive body, we write all those tickets, we wrote a ton of tickets against that particular residence. The judge decides, not us. We obviously had made a decision because we thought the party was culpable in all those cases. The judge only found him culpable in some of those cases, and the judge did not demand collection of the fine, which is usually done immediately from a corporation. But again, when I tell you that I've discussed that matter with the Office of Court Administration, it is a separate branch of government. We don't control the courts. If you do, or if you have influence, be my guest.
Ms. Migliosi.
I'm Maria Linda Migliosi. I live in East Setauket. For the past 10 weeks, I've been in meetings with Councilwoman Cartwright's office. I've met with Art Gerhauser, James Ryan, and this was all facilitated by Jennifer Martin, and I'm very grateful. Thank you, Ms. Cartwright. I'm here to talk about my own experience. It goes back a long time. I own my home 30 years, and this problem has been around 25 years. This is very personal to me. I'm here to talk about what happens when someone across the street buys the house you face, only you face this house, and they begin their sole intent in buying the home is to develop it for income-producing purposes. This is happening for 25 years. 9 Carlton Avenue consists of a 2.5-story house and a 2-story barn on an acre of land in the harbor off Shore Road. Back in 1990, first the college kids moved in. I was getting up at 4:30 to go to a corporate job in Manhattan. 4:30 in the morning, the kids were tearing into the driveway. Then the request came from the Schaubs for a chiropractic office to be housed on their property. Everything they asked for was granted. All the objection, a neighbor and I sat there all day until 6:30 when it was finally heard like this at the end of the day. It was for nothing. Everything was granted. So we had college kids renting, then we had a medical practice. We had cars, noise, and traffic. Let's fast forward to the present. Now we have what was a medical practice approved for one person, one medical office, became 4. What was a one-family residence has been rezoned several times. Sometimes I hear 3-family, sometimes I hear 2-family. It seems like a play on words. I don't know what it is. I am disturbed. But let's remember, it wasn't long before the college kids got moved out and adults with big paying jobs moved in. It was more money, it was more income. And then you're supposed to feel like, wow, they did a great thing. They got rid of the college kids. But truly, it's rentals. I'm sorry if I offend anybody with the handout because it's a picture of garbage, but that's the typical recycle every week from that property. There's so many people living there. There's such a business running there that that's the recycle on a weekly basis, and it's put out 24 hours before pickup. And it's the same thing with the garbage. So 6 days out of 7, that's what I see. And I have a little dollhouse across the street, 8 Carlton Avenue. I'm one of the cutest homes in the neighborhood. It doesn't look like that because I haven't invested a lot in it. Please, do something about this stuff. Thank you.